Finding the vertex of a quadratic function. Finding the vertex of a quadratic function. Quadratic functions are used in a variety of ways. Engineers use quadratic functions to determine the maximum height or the minimum clearance under the support of a bridge at a variety of points. Architects use quadratic functions to enhance building designs. Here is an example of a quadratic function. You can write a quadratic function in three forms. First is the standard form, which is the f at x equal ax squared plus bx plus c. The c represents the y-intercept, where the graph crosses the y-axis, x is equal to 0. The factored form, which is equal to a times x minus r and x minus s, where r and s give you the x-intercepts, the points where the graph crosses the x-axis, or you could call them the roots or the zeros, and the vertex form, y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, where if you take the h and the k, it gives you the coordinates of the vertex. Notice that if inside the bracket it's a negative, when you substitute it into the ordered pair, it becomes positive. To convert a quadratic function from the standard form to the vertex form, we will use a technique called completing the square. Here is a sample. Write the equation y equal x squared plus 6x plus 7 in vertex form. Split the equation into two parts. One part is x squared plus 6x. The second part is plus 7. Take the middle term and divide by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. Take the result from step 2 and square this value. 3 squared is equal to 9. Add and subtract this value in the equation between the two parts. The reason you add and subtract is so that you do not change the value of the question. Plus 9 minus 9 is 0. Nothing has changed in the overall value. Group the first three terms and the last two terms. So x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 9 plus 7. Simplify the first three terms as they are a perfect square trinomial. So x plus 3 squared minus 9 plus 7. Simplify the last part of the expression, x plus 3 squared minus 2. The vertex then would be -3, -2. Try this example. Write the equation 2x squared minus 4x plus 5 in vertex form. Solution? Same steps. Factor the a value from the first two terms only. Now the a value is the number in front of the x squared, which is 2. So we will take 2 out of the first term. So divide 2x squared by 2, and we will get x squared. And then take the minus 4x, divide by 2, and we're left with negative 2x, and then plus 5. Take the number in front of the x term inside the brackets and divide by 2, which we've just done. Negative 2 divided by 2 is equal to negative 1. So this time we're using the negative 2 inside the bracket that we've just found in step 1. Now we will take the negative 1 and we will square it. So negative 1 squared is 1. Add and subtract this value in the equation inside the bracket after the x term. So we will now get 2 times x squared minus 2x plus 1 minus 1 plus 5. Remove the minus value from inside the bracket by multiplying it by the value in front of the bracket. So what we will do now is you will take the 2 times the negative 1, put it at the end of the equation outside the bracket. So we're left with 2 times x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus 2 times negative 1 plus 5. Now simplify the perfect squared trinomial inside the bracket by factoring. So it will become 2 times x minus 1 squared and we'll simplify the last part of the expression, negative 2 plus 5, to become plus 3. Now we can clearly see the vertex form of the equation. So the vertex will be 1, 3. Now remember to change the sign from negative 1, the vertex would become plus 1. Here's one a little more complicated as we have a fraction and we all love fractions. Write the equation y equal 1/2 x squared plus 4x in vertex form. Factor the a, which is 1/2, from the first two terms only. So we will get 1/2 and we're left with x squared plus 8x. Now how did we get the 8x? Note that 4 divided by 1/2 becomes 4 times 2, which is 8. That is an important step to remember. Now, take the number in front of the x term inside the bracket and divide by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. Take the result from step 2 and square this value. 4 squared is equal to 16. Add and subtract this value in the equation inside the brackets after the x term. We will get 1/2 x squared plus 8x plus 16 minus 16. Remove the minus value from inside the brackets by multiplying it by the value in front of the brackets. This means to take out the negative 16 by multiplying it by 1/2. So you will now get y equals 1/2 and in brackets x squared plus 8x plus 16 outside bracket minus 1/2 times 16. Simplify the perfect squared trinomial inside the bracket. That means to factor. So we have y equals 1/2 x plus 4 squared minus 1/2 times 16. And now simplify the last part of the expression. Y equals 1/2 x plus 4 squared minus 8. So your vertex is then -4, -8.